Hey guys, I'm Dr. Kori Probst here with Dr. Joe Klemczewski. Welcome to the Diet Doc Life Mastery Podcast. We're in the fitness entrepreneurship segment today, and we're discussing the information age and how we need to, as fitness entrepreneurs and business owners, respond, adapt, and react as effectively as possible.
That is what we're going to chat about, Kori. I hope you're ready.
Let's do it.
So this is a topic that I brought up to our program owners for at least the last 3 years. And I keep evolving the messaging as I see different industries and just culture in general evolve. But it's pretty crazy, I think, if people really understand what's happening. And so, first of all, I want to preface this that when we started this podcast, Kori, we had one primary goal, which is at the Diet Doc, we are a licensing company. We help all of our program owners grow, and we support them in building their fitness businesses. So since we do that every day anyway, we thought, why not do it as a podcast so we can share some of this information? So I love this particular category, fitness entrepreneurship. And it kind of made me think of this.
What is that?
Do you see what this is?
It looks like a stone of some sort.
It is a rock. It is a rock.
Is that a worry stone, Joe?
No, it's actually a landscaping stone.
Oh.
But it made me think of an article I had read some time ago, which is that the first stone tools ever discovered, we can date back to almost 3 million years ago. And then for the next 2.5 million years, we didn't build space stations. We didn't have libraries full of books. We just had different versions of rock tools. So some anthropologists and archaeologists called the rock, the iPhone of our common ancestor to primates. So, this was all they did. They couldn't patent the rock, when they made it into an axe or a hammer or an arrowhead. There were no copyright infringement laws. They just had to, either by force or by intellect, continue to gather, make, and evolve into better tools, right? The irony is that's exactly what we do today, but at a much, much faster pace.
Right.
So, it makes me think of the fact, everybody gives Darwin credit, of course, for the theory of evolution, but he just basically outpunched Wallace for that. Ben Franklin did not discover electricity. There were tons of people working on that at the same time. He just happened to have the biggest voice, maybe the best connections, the best way to apply it. So we always will be contending with discovery, and we kind of rush around to who can be the first to the market. And that's not going to be necessarily the most important thing in the future. It's not going to be who's first. It's going to be who's best, who can create the next iteration that we can use. So that's what I want to talk about today, Kori.
Yeah.
We live in an open source world. We cannot depend on necessarily new discovery as entrepreneurs. We have to do something different. So in your mind, you work with dozens, if not hundreds, of program owners every single day. You've been working on your own career for the last 15 to 20 years. How do you view the evolution of what we even do in our industry?
How do I view it?
Do you look at the changes as something that, oh shoot, now I have to change everything? Or, how do you contend with change?
No, there's not this internal sense of forebodingness or constriction, or I don't feel like we're necessarily suffocating. It's an exciting time. We're in an age of innovation, because we do need to position ourselves to look ahead and see what people are going to need and how people are going to be thinking and how things are shifting in a way that has us, I think, really needing to stay ahead of the game. No, we don't. Like you said, I agree with you. I don't think it's always in our best interest to be the first person to put something out there, because it it typically isn't going to reach a lot of people because it's too new, right? It's too fresh. No one kind of knows at that point what it is or how to use it. But that's the evolution piece that you're talking about. How can we capitalize and build on what's already there, but in some way make it just a little bit more novel as we're thinking ahead to how things are changing?
Right. So the biggest thing, people are either they fear it already.
Mm-hmm.
It may have already decimated their work, their occupation, or it's going too soon. Some of the best futurists right now say in the next 10 years, up to 90% of the jobs you see today won't exist.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And it being all machine driven. And
well, there is automation in AI, but it's just going to be a different world. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you buy music anymore?
No.
Okay. When you need something to be created graphically, do you call up your graphic designer? Is that your first move?
Nope.
You go to royalty-free, open source,
Right.
repositories
website
for all of this information. So we increasingly live in this open source world, and I've been working on this in my mind in different iterations for almost 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched Ray Kurzweil, who is the guy who even coined the phrase singularity, and he said. Not only is this something that is knowledge driven, he's looking forward to this point in the next 10 or 20 years where there is this singularity of knowledge, where everybody has access to all of the best, most competent information out there, just even quantity of information. But one of the problems, or one of the side effects, is it has completely cannibalized entire businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Because what people used to get paid for is now totally free. And he said that is the future. Almost everything is going to be that way. So you have to figure out a way to meet a need that people have in your industry that might be completely different than it is now.
So can I comment, Joe?
Yeah, please.
I'm just thinking about how the psychology profession, the counseling profession, the social science profession has not declined at all. In fact, we see more and more people going into the social sciences to become therapists. And I think, we've hit on something within the culture that can't necessarily be replaced by a machine or automation. And at some point, someone is going to come up with something. I mean, there are probably therapy bots out there that I'm unfamiliar with. Remember, what was that movie, She?
Oh, there were a couple, yeah. Even Ex Machina.
Right. But I just see among our owners and just in my own work that I do with clients individually and within groups, that there is still this need for human connection and understanding and empathy that I'm not sure could ever be replaced. And so I would love for you to key in on very specifically, like if we're talking about fitness entrepreneurs and standing out and avoiding becoming obsolete.
To your point,
Mm-hmm.
to your point, therapists will be obsolete in the way they currently do therapy. Mm-hmm. Somebody walking into your office spending $150, $250 on an hour of counseling every week, that's going to go away because there are bots and algorithms, and there will be, self-help videos. You will probably, if you want to evolve, you will be the person who creates these solutions for an open source world. Mm-hmm. But what you said there is what is really the heart of the matter, which is people will always need an experience. That's what we crave more than anything. So as we get bogged down with more and more social media, more automation, we will still have to have a way. Not that we have to have something to protect that occupation, because you might say, well, everybody's going to need neurosurgeons and orthopedic surgeons. No, robots already do better work than they do. Those are going to go away as well. But let me read you something from this book called Steal Like an Artist. So just let that name sink in for a second. So T.S. Eliot wrote, immature poets imitate, mature poets steal. So there's a difference between imitation and stealing. Bad poets deface what they take. Good poets make it into something better, or at least something different. Exactly what you said. The good poet welds his theft into a whole of feeling which is unique, utterly different from that which it is torn. So the key is, we have all of these resources and tools around us, knowledge. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. And if you want to succeed in fitness entrepreneurship or any other type of business, you have to have one eye on the horizon, understanding that what we're talking about today is surviving and thriving in this open source world, and deciding how you can not only stand out and do something different, but how will you meet that need when all of the information you might provide is already free. It's not the information you provide, it's the way you provide it. It's you having this experience that nobody else can give.
So are you suggesting, Joe, that it's the first step for fitness entrepreneurs would be just to ask that question? What would that question be?
It's first of all understanding the survey of the land. What is out there now? Who are the people in my field who are winning, and why? I'll give you an example. I just hung up with a client, and she's pretty new to losing weight, getting the best shape of her life. She's super excited. She happens to work at one of the top medical clinics in the world, and this is all new to her. She's my age. And so since this is all exciting for her, she's, I just got to talk to you on the phone, Joe. I work in one of the top medical systems in the world, and we keep building programs and buildings and curriculum, and yet nobody knows the kind of stuff you know. And so she spent an hour on the phone with me saying, I'm going to talk to this physician, the head of this department. We've got to get you here to at least talk to medical students, to do this, to do this. All of that is irrelevant. It's the fact that she got on the phone with me and said, I've had such an experience with you, Joe, even though I could pull in Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil or anybody else in the world to come to this top university, I'm going to try and get you in here. Not because of the knowledge I can bring. Other people could bring the same knowledge. It's the experience she's had. So that is the key. And here's what I want to wrap this up, Kori.
Okay.
I started out by saying, this was our only tool for almost 3 million years. Yeah. And about maybe 5 or so years ago, I think you received one of these as well. This is a decorated box, hand painted little jewels on there. And guess what this is full of?
Painted rocks.
These are painted rocks because my 5 or 6 year old daughter wanted to give me a gift. And so in her little developmental world as a 5 or 6 year old, she went to the only tool at her disposal, and she made it an amazing experience for somebody. She
represented it.
She stole like an artist. Yeah. She took something that she already had available to her. She didn't create rocks. She didn't create paint.
Made it more attractive and useful.
But she made
meaning, right?
She added meaning and experience for somebody, and that's how we're going to survive in an open source world. So guys, that's it. That's my only point for today. I think we could talk about this forever. And we probably will, because this is going to be a tipping point in our entire experience as human beings. When people look back at Homo sapiens in this era, it's going to be a very wild, quick change. And all of us in the meantime still have to pay the bills. We have to feed our families and grow and do the things we want to, flourishing in an industry, recreating an industry. But it still comes down to that one experience you can provide with clients with all of the information that's already there.
Awesome. Well, thank you for this today, Joe.
All right, guys. Thank you as well. Appreciate you watching and listening.
Thanks, guys.